It's the reality of facing that my life is what it's been given to me as it is, and that recovery actually involves every aspect of my being.
It's sort of a story of healing and redemption, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like you've sort of been through this journey of...
Yeah. The psychological experience of it is a whole very transformative sort of experience.
Yeah, transformative is probably a better word than redemptive.
Yeah.
Redemptive's a bit Catholic. This is an article I wrote about my brother Sean and his experience with schizophrenia and our experience as a family. My brother was a golden child. Firstborns often are. Along with the honour of being the first of 4 children, he had blonde hair, caramel skin, and a temperament like the sun's rays. In his early 20s, my brother's glow began to fade. He became violent and aggressive, banging doors and yelling, swearing and throwing things in rage. He socialised frenetically and chemically.
In that time I was exhibiting symptoms, yeah. Got progressively more out of reality in a sense, started having delusions, persecutions, hallucinations. I was also drinking a lot at that stage, smoking a lot of pot, and it was pretty tough to be around actually.
One night I dreamed my brother called my name. He told me he was broken and begged me to pull him from his life's mire. I stretched my arm out towards him, but I couldn't reach his hand. My brother was lost to me. The next day he was hospitalised. His mind was so shattered he barely recognised us. He was heavily sedated and wheeled around in a chair.
In the early years I started on a drug called Modicate, which after my first hospitalisation in 1992 sent me to bed for 7 years basically. The psychosis itself was so intense, the experience was so intense and all demanding and all encompassing. It just took every ounce of my energy just to be with it in a sense. And in itself, with the ongoing symptoms, I had energy for nothing else but to just lie in bed. In those early bedridden years, it was the toughest period of my life, and I don't think I could bear to go back to even one day of it. I prefer the discomfort of medications and the life it can give me than the thought of going back to psychosis ever again. It's probably the one thing in life I really fear is going back into the psychotic space. The Lord is kind and merciful, slow to anger and rich in compassion. I used to go to church a lot regularly as a kid. My family went. One day I woke up and I just thought, I'm going to Mass today, and I've been back at the church ever since. I've found over the years that I need prayer. From my way of thinking, ultimately we're here for God, and you can take that as far as you like. On the one hand, we have an illness like schizophrenia, which I have. On the one hand, it's a neurobiological illness. Existentially or psychologically, the experience of psychosis and beyond is actually a complete overhaul of one's condition as a human being. What I'm trying to say is that through the whole process of psychosis and beyond, the person that I once was before psychosis has been refashioned and redeveloped post-psychosis. I'd almost say into a new being. I'd like to see how far I can take my mental health by getting really healthy physically. The chaplains, etc., may deal with the spirit. They're psychologists, psychiatrists, the mind. But I think we need full-on clinicians. Like we need like physical trainers and stuff like that in mental health services, and people who take people for a swim or a jog or that kind of thing. We have high rates of heart disease. We have high rates of diabetes. We have high rates of obesity. That's just off the cuff. It's probably more. I have probably what's regarded as an extreme sort of a diet. It's a fine diet for me. It's lots of exercise and raw foods.
My brother is a generous person, at peace with fate's cruel hand. He comes for dinner most Sundays, drops in for a weekly cup of tea. We laugh and joke and he tells me he's proud of me. I smile and say he's a good older brother, made for the role. Golden.
In relation to recovery, I would say to people, keep in mind, no matter how dark the day is, in all probability it will get lighter. And also, somehow in that scenario, if they can realise the utter preciousness of life, that for all the suffering that goes on, life remains extremely precious. Ultimately, the whole process, however tough, is still a good one, but extremely trying.